it's the same thing. PageRank is a method of determining trust among websites. Which website is trustworthy, and that's why Google is so successful. One of the reasons is because they developed an actual mathematical algorithm that can tell which site is trustworthy. And so I think something similar will come about in the social media realm.
Isn't that in some ways like what
necessary.
Amazon is, where people are rating each other? And
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of tools within sites that we are using right now that have this built-in trust.
Yeah.
I forget what you call it, but
Well,
like recommendation system.
Yeah.
Right,
Stuff
yeah,
like that.
definitely.
Yeah.
Incidentally, there's a #Amazon fail going on right now.
I saw that, yeah, Amazon. Yeah, because what's coming out on social media is that they're not ranking gay and lesbian stories on Amazon. They're not allowing those books to come to the top. I think that's in essence what it is.
They put them in their adult category.
They put them in their adult category, so Amazon failed.
Amazon
They don't appear.
released
Right.
a statement on it finally.
Right, so I mean, this is a great question, and someone's, in this Amazon fail case, someone's going to call you out and say, hey, why is this happening? And now everyone knows on Twitter, and everyone who's watching Twitter and the blogosphere is going to know. So, yeah, I think it does make people, I tend to think it makes people more trustworthy, right? Because if I do something in this class that isn't true, I have a lot of people who are going to make sure more and more and more people outside of this classroom find out about it.
there's accountability.
There's accountability, greater accountability. Okay, speaking of accountability, I think FedEx would be really cool to talk about next. Hi, FedEx.
I have to find my thing where the guy made the quote.
Do you want to come?
Worst Twitter post ever.
So who was the presenter? What's your handle?
Sophia Blue,
Sophia B. Liu.
S-O-P-H-I.
BLA.
I actually did see somebody keep doing
So we didn't really come up with a lot of strategies because I think ultimately what we decided was this was like way, way overblown.
Okay, so what was it?
Turned into a big phenomenon. But the guy, James Andrews, who works for Ketchum is he was supposed to go to Memphis to give a lecture on social media. And when he got there, he tweeted in his personal account, which is Key Influencer. His Twitter account said, "True confession, but I'm in one of those towns where I scratch my head and say, quote, I would die if I have to live here."
What town was he in?
Memphis. Okay, so he was there to talk about the power of social media. So that was that's sort of the thing of, okay, if this guy really knows so much about social media, why did he do this? And of course the people from FedEx all picked up on it and were deeply, deeply hurt, and on and on and on. And so ultimately he's still working for Ketchum. I think it took us a while to kind of figure out what actually happened. FedEx issued an apology letter. He said he apologized to FedEx in Memphis and said that this was his frustration at a particularly rude individual being nasty to him, and then he went back to his room and tweeted this. So that was that.
What was his name again?
James Andrews, and he is online at thekeyinfluencer.com thekeyinfluencer.com. Anyway, so it turned into this huge thing, and I think that we talked a lot about, okay, you're going to talk about social media, you need to understand it and understand that everything you do is public anymore. And so if you don't want to read about it in wherever, newspapers that are dying, don't say it, And of course he violated that rule. But it was on his personal account, So where does your professional / public persona end and your personal begin? You know, if you work for a firm like this and you're an expert in social media, do you not get to say what you think? You know, blah, blah, blah. Why are people freaking out because he doesn't like Memphis? Everybody doesn't like somewhere, you know, so, but it just turned into this enormous flap that people have been talking about. And I think our conclusion was basically, it was a lot of sound and fury signifying not very much. So, you want to add anything to that?
I thought FedEx overreacted.
Yeah, FedEx overreacted.
Maybe just shut up.
Yeah, and what happened was everybody like really took it really seriously, and they thought they had to respond seriously. Well, if you could have like kind of lightened up about it a little bit and said, hey, you know, sorry, you know, everybody makes mistakes, and if you read the comments on his blog, you know, that's generally the reaction there of people saying, you know, oh come on, you know.
He should know better, but
He should know better, but, you know, like he didn't bomb the World Trade Center or anything, you know, so.
And
Channeled the camera and made an apology.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, there are so many opportunities for humor.
Yeah.
You know.
Did the city of Memphis, are they kind of tracking what's being said about their state, their city? Did they leverage that in terms of their travel bureau to turn it into,
Interesting.
you know, a campaign to?
That's a great turnaround.
That would have been a great idea for the
Memphis,
city.
I'd rather die than live there.
Yeah, you could turn that into a
Yeah.
fun campaign
Yeah, you
and have it be
That's
based on
true.
social platforms, and it could be really successful.
That's a great point. Are there any other good things that could come out of this even now, or yeah?
You know, and in some ways, you know, if you think about the other people that are on Twitter that you follow, some people are just out there, they're obnoxious, but they have that personality and they say obnoxious things, and they get forgiven for them, or people laugh. So, I mean, this would be kind of an extreme end, it's just a thought, but he could turn it into something where it blends, he could have a personality that makes that, it gives it less of a charge, because it's kind of who he is,
Right.
as opposed to, you know, him, that maybe it was out of character for him to say. Just something that removes the charge, either
Right.
from the people that are hearing it or from the person who's saying it.
That's a very good point.
We didn't get quite through all the 93 comments, but one of the points that he did try to make was that, look, all of these are forums for dialogue that, okay, you disagree, let's talk about it, you know?
Yeah.
Don't just like get offended and leave the room, you know, just keep the conversation going and let's make something out of it. So
I think
that's
it's
another thing.
a good case study to show the power of social media, which is
Yeah.
the whole thing that he was there to do. And when I read his letter, I was like, okay, you know, he stepped up and said, hey, I should have thought about what my client would do, but this is what social media is. And it really did kind of prove his case
Yeah.
about the viral nature of social media.
Mm-hmm. That's a great point.
It could have been a pretty cool case study for him to actually use in the training.
Right. Get out there and say, you'd have to be quick to do that though. I mean, he must have arrived and just been like, oh. It was one tweet. But the power of one tweet, I think that's really what
Well, see,
this
if
is.
he just said that about every city he goes to from now on, it would just be funny.
Yeah, you're right, it's true. That's a good point. Yeah, very good job. Thank you guys.